Hey, everyone. I'm Becca, and he's Matt, and this is Becca's Book Club Adventure.
Hello. It has been a really messed up experience trying to record this. All I want to do is talk about a freaking book, and the rain keeps killing the internet. So anyway, we read part 1 of House of Flame and Shadow, book 3, Crescent City. What's the vibe check, Becca?
The vibes are really good with this book, right? So we started book 2 with a pretty slow run. It took us about a good week and a half to get into the book. And I finished part 1 in 3 days, which is very fast for me.
Yeah, I think I finished it in 2 days after finishing Iron Flame in 2 days and Silver Elite in 3 days. So I've been reading.
Marathon of book reading.
I did. I think I figured out that I read about 1,200 pages in 5 days. It is crazy. Anyway,
Wow.
I am on the same page as you. I think book 3 so far. I don't know where the plot is going and if I'll like it as much as the others. But so far, book 3 is a much stronger beginning than the other two. All right.
Are you tired of apartment life? Tired of sharing walls with people who think quiet hours are just a suggestion?
Do your upstairs neighbors stomp like they're training for the Olympics? Do your downstairs neighbors throw ragers every Tuesday for no reason?
Then it's time for an upgrade. Home ownership. The dream you've been sold since birth.
With home ownership, your walls are your very own. So are your leaky roofs, your faulty wiring, and the mystery smells in your crawl space.
Want privacy? You got it. Along with a decade of repainting, endless yard work, and the annual thrill of property taxes.
That's right. Nothing says freedom like mowing the lawn every weekend so your HOA doesn't fine you for overly enthusiastic dandelions.
Home ownership, because paying rent was just easy.
Call now, and we'll throw in a free sense of financial dread and a 30-year mortgage absolutely free.
Oh, having been a renter and having been a homeowner, neither option is great.
No.
But I really love having a roof over my head.
Yeah, I really wanted to get out of the apartments because I had a neighbor who I don't know what this person did. I don't know if they had like an OnlyFans site or if they were just extremely promiscuous or if they were just an extremely enthusiastic lover for one particular partner. But it was very loud every night, every morning. And then the people below us were smokers. And I mean, like everything that you could possibly smoke, they smoked and like nonstop. So it was like coming up through the floors. But I love my house. I hate fixing everything every 2 weeks. There's always something.
Yep.
Part 1, House of Flame and Shadow. It's like the prologue and then the first 27 chapters. We're going to talk about it here in a second after we recap what we read. And if any of you would like to join in the conversation with us, feel free to leave us a comment, shoot us a review. You can email us at bookclubbybecca@gmail.com, or you can hit us up on Instagram. We are at Becca's Book Club Adventure. Hopefully we will hear from you and feature you on the next episode, maybe even ask you to join. So, Becca, do you want to start us off with what happened in our story?
Our story opens in the Eternal City. The Astari have contained the events that transpired at the end of Book 2, but are still continuing their search for Bryce, as the Hind, Pollux, and the Hawks torture and interrogate Rune, Hunt, and Byaxian, while the Hind continues to play her dangerous double agent game.
Bryce, meanwhile, is being held in an underground cell in the Hewn City in Prithian. Not that she knows that. As Amryn, Azriel, and Rhys question her.
3 things become clear before they leave her in the cell alone. First, this is the original home of Midgard's Fae.
Second, The Prithian Fae did successfully oust the Asteri 15,000 years ago, although the Asteri were known by a different name then, the Daglin.
And third, the tattoo of the horn on Bryce's back is recognized as being related to the cauldron.
But Bryce eventually grows tired of her cell, so she decides to escape through a grate in the floor, as one does, and then proceeds to walk into a tunnel using her star as her guide.
Nesta catches up with her, but can't take her back to her cell because of a cave-in that forces the two into a shaky alliance to move forward through the cave system.
While they're walking back in Crescent City, Therion and Arianda, what did you call her? Adrian, we're going to call her Adrian. Therion and Adrian fight in the pits for the Viper Queen, who is slowly getting Therion addicted to her.
Ethan, Declan, and Flynn simultaneously continue their search for Bryce, Rune, and Hunt, as well as deal with the wolf mystic Sigrid. In the meat market, looking for intel, they are all ambushed by Sabine and her wolves.
They dispatch Sabine with a gunshot to the face, but don't worry, everyone. She's going to make the recovery we all want her to make. But then they stumble into the Viper Queen, who invites them to stay as her guests.
Bryce and Nesta continue their journey through the unknown tunnel using Bryce's star as a guide. Eventually, Azrael makes himself known, and the three together continue down the tunnel.
They endure booby traps, and they even battle a worm. And then they start passing walls that seem to depict the Fae's history up until they left Midgard, including depictions of the Astari.
At the Viper Queen's den, the gang wakes up one morning to find the Hind in their room requesting their help to break Rune, Hunt, and Byaxian free. The gang is rightly suspicious of her. She reveals herself as Agent Daybright and tells them her plan to get them into the Eternal City and free the prisoner in 3 days.
Harder said than done, though, because trapped in the meat market, Ethan then has to go negotiate with the Viper Queen for their freedom. If Ethan does one pit fight and wins, then they all go free.
Bryce, Azrael, and Nesta eventually reach the door with the Starborn star on it. On the other side, they step into the prison, where Bryce is able to activate a vision that tells the story of the Perinthian Fae, of Bryce's heritage and of Reason's heritage.
Through the hologram vision, we learn how they were conquered by the Astari, how they used the dead trove to overthrow their conquerors, how that wasn't enough for Thea, and how she needed to conquer her herself and eventually made her way to Midgard.
Then how Pellis worked with the Astari and manipulated her, and how they murdered the humans already living on the Midgard, how Regulus brought the shifters, and how Thea enlisted Hel's help to wage war on the Astari after learning the truth, how they lost, and how one of Thea's daughters returns to Perinthian and created the prison and began the Night Court's lineage.
As Bryce learns history, Ethan is forced to fight Sigrid for his freedom. Against his desires and natural instincts, Ethan accidentally unalives her. The Viper Queen keeps her promise and lets them go. And as they drive away, the fire sprites zip into the car, having waited behind to set fire to the meat market.
And back on the Eternal City, Rune, Hunt, and Byaxian continue to endure torture and search for a way to free themselves. The Astari resurrect the Harpy, which causes the Hind to enlist the Fire Sprite Queen to help start a coup to free the prisoners.
Meanwhile, in the prison, Azrael and Nesta move to contain Bryce. But Bryce imbues herself with Thea's power that had been sequestered in the stone beneath her feet and fights back, causing the floor to collapse into a chamber below them where one of the Asteri is trapped in a crystal coffin.
Bryce releases her from the coffin as a trade for more information because she wants to learn how to kill the Astari. But Versepis doesn't give any valuable information, and a battle ensues, and she activates the hidden cache of First Light beneath the floor.
The battle that follows sees Bryce use the Star Sword and Azrael's dagger to subdue the Asteri, but that doesn't stop her because of all of the First Light. Nesta sneaks up behind her and finishes her off using ataraxia to behead her.
Part 1 comes to an end with Ethan leaving the gang from Crescent City to go back to make things right, just as the gang begins to make their way to the Eternal City.
And at the same time, Azriel and Nesta are horrified by the amount of magic Bryce is now able to wield. They once again try to subdue her, but Bryce uses the empty crystal sarcophagus to create a world portal and jump through it. Done. This was so cool.
I really enjoyed it. Even though, as we're getting a history dump from the villain, not villain, hero, not hero character, and I knew it, and I was like, this is kind of a lazy plot point, but also loved every minute of it.
There were because they were doing Sarah J. Maas did so many POV jumps back to Crescent City, to the dungeons underneath the Eternal City, etc. I think that was the only way it was palatable. Can you imagine if part one was just Bryce walking through this freaking tunnel and getting this vision? It would have been so tedious.
It would have been very difficult to read, but I did enjoy the exploration through the tunnel. Like every time I switched point of views, I was like, oh.
It was really, really good. Okay, so let's talk about the tunnel. First question. So Nesta, Azriel, and Bryce battle a worm, but what I mean by that is that Nesta battles a worm. Feyre killed a worm in her Hunger Games debut in book 1.
Yep.
So I have to ask, who did it better? Which one did you like reading more? Or maybe that's a good question. Which one did you enjoy reading more? Which one was cooler?
I enjoyed reading Feyre's more, right? The trials and the tribulations that went into it and led with it. Whereas with Nesta, we already know she's super all-powerful. So it was kind of like, well, duh, she's going to win. I
had forgot just how freaking scary Nesta is. It's terrifying. It's so terrifying. I think it's really cool how I know we didn't use her name in the recap, but Thea's daughter that created all of this and everything, his name is Celine. Almost like silence, but without the C, and I'm sure that that's purposeful somehow. But the prison that we are so terrified of from ACOTAR is actually used to be like the Starborn phase, the Prythian phase palace that she turned into this prison, and she desecrated all of the good about it to hide the memory of everything. Anyway, super, super interesting. I guess it seems weird to me that Thea trapped one of the Daglin and put them in a crystal coffin under the floor.
Yeah. So, then that begs to differ. Did they actually defeat the Daglin or Astari? Because all they did was manage to trap one. They kicked 6 of them off the planet, but one is trapped on the planet.
Yeah. And it also makes me wonder, we were talking about, is Hybern, the king of Hybern, was he an Astari? And this didn't really give me that answer, and that bothered me.
Nope.
And I don't think we're going to get that answer because Bryce just left Prythian.
Yep. We're going to get probably nothing about Hybern until part 3, if anything.
I do like that we were talking about how the horn is related to the cauldron somehow. I think but I didn't realize that it was also going to be made from the cauldron, so it's actually more related to the harp. Mm-hmm. And it was really cool to me how the harp and the horn are both musical instruments, and the two musical instruments played together are sort of what allow you to walk between worlds. Whereas the other parts of the Dead Trove don't let you walk through worlds. They just let you control things.
That's a good summary. I didn't catch up on all those details.
Okay. What did you think of the Prythian Fae essentially being horrible, horrible people? Did that surprise you?
No. Feyre hated them to begin with. I do love how we get this back and forth of human perspective and Fae perspective, and we have these two main characters that really have both of those heritages.
Yeah, I think that was really cool. Do you think that Bryce did any irreparable damage to the prison? Maybe another way to ask that question is, do we think that any of the inmates have been unleashed?
Yeah, and I'm terrified and excited for that all at the same time.
Given how some of the inmates were like actually pretty helpful and amenable there back in Akatar, I'm wondering if this is a good thing. Do some of these inmates help in with Midgard?
Right? Like, do they have the historical knowledge of the Astari and are able to actually help with this upcoming battle?
Yeah, that will be interesting. Um, okay, and now that we know the history of the Prithian Fae, it makes me kind of question how Hell and the Princes of Hell play into this and what their motives are. Um, I think you and I were a little bit both on the same page that they're actually like the good guys. At least that was what we were thinking at the end of last book. But now that we know more about who Thea is, and obviously Adis falls in love with Thea, who's like not good. I don't know. Does that change anything in your brain?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I need more details. I still think Hell is going to help get us out of this.
Yeah. I just wonder, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Does their help come with strings attached? I guess.
Oh, I'm sure it does, just like everything with the Viper Queen.
Yeah. Oh goodness, we'll get to her. Any other thoughts on Bryce's storyline?
No,
Okay. Well, Hunt, Rune, Baxian, the Hind.
it's not looking good. Rin doesn't have a hand.
Yeah, because Baxian chewed it off so they could like try to escape. Holy crap.
All of that was disturbing.
I think what amazes me is how fast it happened. So like Hunt was trapped in this prison for like 7 years, and these three dudes couldn't last 3 days before they were like, "Yeah, let me chew off your hand so that we can escape."
Yeah.
'Cause I'm pretty sure that part one is like 3 days long.
That is my impression as well.
It's just wild how fast it all escalates.
Yeah. Well, and Hunt kind of gives us a little bit of insight because he was previously alone. And so, in some ways, he had commented how it was easier or better because he wasn't worried about any other people. It was just himself. Whereas now, with they're trapped with the three of them watching each other being tortured, you're now stressed out about your companions.
Yeah, I could see that. I can't see chewing somebody else's hand off.
I've thankfully never been in a position to
No.
do.
And while they're being tortured, the Hind is like scrambling around trying to fix everything. And I think my highlight from this entire section was just getting her POVs.
She's so screwed.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for her. Her getting the Fire Queen to support her. I'm super fascinated to see how this goes. Like the fact that she requests her for a week, takes her to the witch. That doesn't go well, and that's when the Hind learns she can trust her, which is such a psychological war that was just engaged in to figure out who you can trust and who you can't.
Yeah. The Hind is definitely not a low IQ person, as our society is saying right now. I think she can do it. I just wonder what the collateral damage is going to be. Yeah. Because every single time we've had some type of escalation, some type of coup attempt or something, somebody gets it. I did think it was super sad and pathetic in the prologue when the two Fae Kings are essentially just throwing their kids under the bus to the Asteri. That was
sad and gross.
Yeah. Although at this point, I kind of have a little bit of a thought. The Autumn King, that dude's going to have some type of hardcore redemption arc. He will have been plotting and scheming stuff for these hundreds of years or whatever. And that's my thought. And I don't think I'm going to care. I think it's going to be like a thanks for helping, dude. See ya.
Too little, too late. We'll see. Because he seems to be pushing Bryce along, right? Because at one point, I can't remember if it was the end of 2 or the beginning of 3, he was like, Bryce, you and I are searching for the same thing, and it's the truth.
It's just like, we know the truth.
Do we?
We know, I think we know a big truth. Yeah. big truth. I think the real question is, okay, so you learn the truth. Then what? What do you do with that?
Exactly.
Because I think, I don't know, Sarah J. Maas has done such a good job of creating a perpetuating system. Like, you can't just cut the head off the snake because the system is what the system is. And it's such a great analogy to, you could talk about racism, you could talk about poverty, you could talk about whatever in any country in the world, and how it's all like self-fulfilling and circular. And so to that end, like, yeah, what do you do with the truth? What do our people do? And actually, there's a couple of metaphysical questions that I have about that. I didn't even write these ones down, but okay, how are the Prithian Fae more or less immortal, but the Fae and shifters in Midgard have to do the drop?
I think it's just a weakening of the power from separation and generation splitting and
Okay.
a different planet, so a different source. Because it sounds like they get their power from nature, and so maybe our Crescent City world doesn't have as much as Perithian.
How does passing power down like upon death work? Like Reese is so powerful because he has accepted all of his forefathers' power after they passed on or whatever. But that doesn't seem to happen in Midgard. Is that, I guess when I was reading Akatar, that almost seemed like just part of being Fae, almost like it's coded into your DNA. But if it's coded into your DNA and the Midgard Fae come from the same DNA as the Prithian Fae, like, what's the difference? I don't know. It's what is your take on that?
I don't even know that I like the passing down of the power, because it's not like, or the passing over of the power, right? Because they clearly exist at the same time, right? They're not dying and then having an, yeah, I don't know. I just think it's two different really processes, and I think the Astari is part of the reason that happened, right? They manufactured this drop so that they could get the siphoning that they needed, and not consensually, right? That's part of the book, because they talk about how they were tired of the tithe that they were having in Perithian, where it required them to consent to give the power over.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in Midgard, now we have this unavoidable drop where you have to give it over.
Does it all come down to how they poisoned the water?
I think so.
Like, does that also alter your DNA so that you can't, the power doesn't pass upon death, and you aren't just immortal by the time you're 25? You have to undergo the drop to be given. I don't know. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I don't think you can make this biologically make sense, because it's not biology.
Yeah, I want it to be. Okay, well, let's talk about something that is also biology, but also doesn't make any sense. Relationships. So if we go back to this whole torture thing, right? The Hind is always trying to talk mind to mind to Rune. I want your take on this situation, because Rune is just outright rejecting the crap out of her. What do you think of that?
I mean, I would have done the same thing. He's pretty pissed and livid. So, like, why let her back in when she's potentially just going to sell you out again? I think he has nothing left to lose. So I think he is dumb to not let her in. But I totally understand why he wouldn't open that door.
Yeah, I was a little bit heartbroken for her, because I guess it's one of those things. It's like you, Rune, got to know this girl, this person, this Agent Daybright, and for all intents and purposes, you fell in love and decided that this person was your mate. Um, uh, so, like, on some level, that has to go beyond logic. But even just logically, you don't know her story.
Nope.
Like, she never did anything to you or your friends. She saved you guys at every step with summoning the depth charger and blah blah blah. She was working with Sophie and Cormac and all of the people, and we don't know her story. When did she turn? Did she turn rebel when she was like 10? Did she turn rebel 5 years ago? So if she turned rebel when she was 10, does that mean she like never actually really tortured anybody and she just has this great reputation? Like, isn't it worth talking to the Hind? Isn't it worth, from Rune, just asking these questions? Guard your heart. my man, guard your heart, put a wall up. But if she's your mate, aren't questions warranted?
Are they warranted while you're being tortured, though?
Maybe not while you're being tortured, but like, I don't know. I'm guessing, isn't your heart open enough to want information to, I don't know. It's messy. I don't like it.
Right? Like, clearly not in this moment, but I think they're going to connect mind to mind here after the rescue mission is complete in part 2.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of the rescue mission, Therion, Flynn, and Declan have to get over to the Eternal City, which apparently is like a 5-minute boat ride based upon how these books have been written. What did you think of this whole meat market plot line?
The whole time Ethan accepted the duel, I was like, Ethan, you obviously know that you're fucking something up. Like, she's got you in a corner. And then when it was a battle against Sigrid, I was like, oh, that's logical. That makes sense as to why the Viper Queen was interested in watching this go down, to feel out who would truly be alpha. And so I feel like we didn't get to know Sigrid enough to really be able to pin her power, her relationship, her any of that. Like, obviously, if she was stuck in a Mystics tank for a while, she's not really going to have a full alpha personality because she also has this Mystics relationship. So
For sure.
Wildly unfortunate for Ethan. Not surprising that he came out on top.
I hurt for Ethan that he had to like kill. But like it's almost like thank God, because I don't think Sigrid would have been any better than Sabine.
Yeah, she was getting annoying.
Yeah, she was giving me some like no-go vibes. What do you think happened to the Dragon Shifter? I mean, we're told that she was traded, but that's what we were told, and the Viper Queen doesn't seem to be, dealing with truths all the time.
And we don't know what she was traded for. So I feel like it was implied that it was money, but I don't think it was money. I think it was either another person or some type of good.
I wonder if the Viper Queen traded the Dragon Shifter to the wolves to like try to repair relationships or whatever after Sabine was taken out, and all of her other wolves, I think, had their throats slit.
But I also think that it was mutually agreed upon. So I don't feel like the Dragon Shifter would go to the wolves. I think she would burn them alive. She was given somewhere that was advantageous in her mind.
I guess the pieces I'm trying to connect to my brain is Ethan is very clearly at some point during the Crescent City saga going to oust Sabine and take over the wolves. I think that is a clear direction here.
Yep.
And I really want the Dragon Shifter to like help him somehow. I don't know how that would go, but and how do you feel about Therion? I think I've decided like screw you, dude. I'd rather turn the page and move on.
Yep, I've reached my max of Therion. He was endearing in book 1, interesting in book 2, and now you're like, yeah, Mero, you fucked up majorly.
Yeah.
I don't know how to help you.
And the fire sprites. I think maybe the fire sprites might have been my entire favorite part. They're sprinkled in, but they're so sassy. So sassy. And apparently they're little arsonists.
It makes sense for a fire sprite.
Yes. Okay. What do you think is going to happen in part 2? I mean, clearly the rescue coup mission thing in the Eternal City is going to happen.
Yes. I think the Astari will locate Bryce and be pissed to find out where she is.
Where is she? Given that at the end of part 1 she jumped through a portal.
Yeah. Many questions.
Do you think she jumped over to Hell? Do you think she jumped back to Midgard?
Or is this how we bring in Throne of Glass?
Oh, I didn't even consider that. I hope that's what we're doing. I don't think that's what's going to happen.
I think so.
But that would be cool.
I can see that she jumped back to Midgard.
Did she jump back to the Eternal City, or did she jump back through some portal in Crescent City?
For my anxiety, I hope it's Crescent City, but I'm sure it's the Eternal City.
Man, this rescue mission is going to be just a cluster. If Bryce shows up with a whole new set of powers.
Yep.
The crew from Crescent City comes over on the 2-minute submarine trip, and then the Hind just gets. Oh, I can't wait to see what the Hind does. I think it'll be really interesting.
I think that's all I got. I'm excited to read part 2.
Yeah, I am too. Okay, I have one more metaphysical question that I want to get your take on that's been bothering me. And this is not necessarily just limited to Crescent City or the Mossverse. I want to talk about aging for a second, because I do not understand how aging works. Okay, so you have all of these fae, and it doesn't matter what the book is. Sometimes they're 100, sometimes they're 1,000. The Astari, for example, are apparently like 50,000. All right. So if you have magical power, I understand that this like magic and life force can slow down your biologic aging, right? So you have got good skin. You're always going to look like you're 30, and then you'll age really slowly after that. So maybe by the time you're 500, you look like you're 70 years old. I don't know. But does that same thing, does that move over to your sex drive? Because these people are going like Energizer bunnies with fresh batteries.
They're definitely stuck just perpetually at 25. But you're right, they also mentally continue aging. And they seem to get a little more mature mentally, but then aren't doing, I don't know. I think they're stuck at 25. It's just all it is.
Yeah, it bothers me a little bit because like seemingly, okay, like the Autumn King, he has mentally aged. He's an old curmudgeon dude. I don't know how old he is. What is he, like 500?
So he's reached his human 50s, I would say.
Okay, so let's use. I'd like to use Rune, but Rune is 80, and we can essentially say he's 25. So let's go with Hunt. Somebody like Hunt, 250 years old. Mentally, he's like the exact same as Rune. There's no difference. And I don't understand how that can be. Time is time. Experiences are experience. Isn't that how we mentally age?
But is it different for angels and fae?
But how is it different? That's my...
It's a great question for Sarah J. Maas.
Because I have to think, if you've experienced that much of life, if you have experienced that much of death, if you have experienced that much of torture, if you've experienced that many just hard decisions and debt and all the things that we go through that kind of jade you, kind of make you a little bit more subdued, or make you pause and think through things, or whatever your mental maturation process is. I don't understand how that doesn't happen to somebody after 250 years of living, after 80 years of living. I understand how your skin looks great. I get how your libido is way up here. I'm envious of that happiness. But I don't understand how you're still an impulsive 15-year-old.
Nope.
It's crazy to me. Okay. How many more times do you think Hunt has his wings sawed off?
We're done with the torture soon.
So you were talking about how some of the torture scenes in Iron Flame were like super rough for you to read through.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily want to say that these things were like triggering for you, but what was the Crescent City torture? Was that hard to get through, or was there enough POV switches?
No, there was enough switches for it. And it wasn't even that Iron Flame was difficult to read. It was that it was just ad nauseum. I was like, this is getting boring. So the point of view switches were not boring in Crescent City.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe we should put a bookmark in it and get on our way to part 2.
That's great. So thanks for listening, everyone.
We will see you guys next time. Have a good one.
Bye.